At some point, you stop asking, what's wrong with me? And you start asking, what am I doing? What have I been practicing? If you've been following along so far, you've already started to see pieces of this. You've seen how we run on autopilot, how comfort keeps us stuck, how we misunderstand our own misunderstanding. But this is where it all starts to connect. We aren't stuck. We're trained. And once you start to see your own conditioning, everything starts to make more sense. My name is Joseph Birdsong, and there was a time in my life where nothing felt real. I kept finding myself in the same patterns. Different situations, same reactions, same frustrations, same outcomes. And for a while, I blamed everything around me. I blamed the timing. I blamed the people. I blamed the place. I blamed the circumstances. And I would say, if things just went my way, then everything would be different. I was making my own luck circumstantial and using it as an excuse. But over time, that excuse, it stopped satisfying me. Because even when opportunities came for me to change, I didn't. The patterns followed me. And that's when I started to realize my life, my choices, they weren't random. They were repeated. The way I responded to stress, the way I defaulted to something easy, the way I avoided certain challenges. It was all practiced by me, and none of it was accidental. And if you're starting to see it yourself, then stay with me, because this is how change begins. See, there's an idea that most people overlook. Everything that we do, for good or for bad, is training us. Every reaction, every habit, every choice. We're not just living a certain life. We're reinforcing our life by what we choose and do. And slowly, that repetition becomes our identity. Not overnight, not all at once, but over time, quietly and consistently. The person I had become wasn't a circumstance. The person I had become didn't just happen to me. The person I had become, I had been practicing. The person I had become avoided discomfort, did what was easy to do, and delayed action. And that person wondered why nothing was changing. But once I saw it, it stopped feeling like something was broken inside me, and it started to feel like something I could choose to change. Because if something is trained, it can be retrained. It just takes effort and intention on a repeated scale. And if you keep wondering why you are the same way you have always been, then maybe this is the moment that you can choose a new path. Because the difference between where you are and where you want to be is not talent, it's not luck or timing, it's repetition. Focused, intentional repetition. So repeated and so convincing that you believe in yourself. The same way our old beliefs built our old selves is the same way you have to condition yourself to see your new self, your dream self. There was a moment I stopped asking, why am I like this? And asked, how have I been practicing to be? And it changed everything, because it shifted me out of blame, and it shifted me into responsibility. The kind of responsibility that was a mirror that said, if I had chose to practice all of this and get to this point, then I can also choose to change myself and redirect myself toward my dream self. And to me, that's where mastery begins. Not in perfection, but in the small choices we make repeatedly every single day. So how do we start? Step 1 is awareness. Notice what you are practicing, who you are practicing. Where does my focus go? What do I default to? How do I respond when things get tough? Because those answers are what you're currently training next. Once you're aware of that thought and where you're headed, you can choose what to reinforce. You don't have to change everything at once, just one intentional direction. Maybe it's to choose discipline, focus, or consistency. Then once you've figured out what trait you want to practice, you can ask yourself, what would I do if I already had this trait? Then you do that, regardless of how it feels. Then you repeat steps 1 and 2, even if it doesn't feel like enough, even if it feels small, because repetition doesn't feel powerful in the moment, but it compounds in the background, and over time, it becomes who we are. That's the part people miss. Mastery isn't a breakthrough. It's accumulation. It's showing up for yourself when it would be easier not to. It's choosing differently when the old pattern is still there. It's staying with something long enough for it to become familiar. Because the master is not someone who figured out things immediately. He's someone who repeated something enough that it became the natural part of himself. And the same is true for all of us. We're not necessarily trying to be someone new, but we can practice ourselves toward our dream. So if you feel behind, if you feel like you're not where you thought you would be, look at what you've been practicing. Look at where the time goes. Because the moment you see it, you can't unsee it. And over time, those choices stack into habits, into identity, into the person that we're going to become. Not because we found the shortcut, but because we stayed with the process and mastered it. This is the Birdsong way.